Hey there everybody, Phil here for AndroidCentral.com, and we are back once again with the LG Spectrum. We actually first saw this guy at CES, but it's review time, so let's do kind of a more proper and subdued walkthrough perhaps. So hardware-wise, let's run through that. 4.5-inch Super AMOLED HD display. The HD means we're actually dealing with 720 pixels wide. Looks pretty good. It can tell a little bit in the whites, just a tiny bit, maybe some pixels, probably just because I'm looking for them though. Really nothing I would worry about at all. So it really does look nice. Down here at the bottom, you've got 3 buttons instead of 4 like we're used to. Now, I've got a theory about this. So they've gotten rid of the search button. You have menu, which brings up the old menu. Remember, we're dealing with gingerbread here. This is taking a little getting used to for me. You have back, and then you have a cool little home button. It almost looks like it's recessed, and I guess it kind of is under the glass, right? But the home button itself is like etched into this little metal design, but the whole thing is flush, and it's really nice. Let's see, on this bezel we have absolutely nothing. On this one we have volume rocker. Up top you've got a 1.3 megapixel camera. Nothing to write home about, but I mean it's decent, it's not horrible. The top bezel you've got a power button, 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, and a little door here, and hiding under the door you have micro USB. There's also a little secondary microphone up here as well. Flip it over and you have an 8 megapixel HD camera. So it does video in full 1080p. Actually, as you'll see in the example down below, it does 1080p. Whatever, you know, sure. The battery cover, as you can also see, is a fingerprint magnet, but it's also very nice. I like the design they've got on it. It's really cool checkerboard, gives it a nice 3D effect. 4G LTE little logo here. You have your speaker down here, and it's actually got a tiny little bump in it, so this isn't unusual for speakers, so when you flip it over, it raises it up ever so slightly so you can still hear sound coming out of it. The speaker's not bad, it's decent. Pop the battery cover off thusly. Inside here you have an 1830 milliamp hour battery, SIM card for 4G LTE. This is the big, I call it big, it's mini SIM and not the micro SIM like a couple phones use, not many yet though. And then you have your SD card over here, and it just slides in and out, not spring loaded or anything. This pops back on, very simple. Software wise, so we are dealing with Android 2.3.5, excuse me. And it's a little weird going back. This is LG's custom interface, and it's been refined a little bit from previous versions, but if you've used an LG device before, it looks very familiar. Yes, it does look a lot like TouchWiz from Samsung. So let's walk you through it real quick. This is the default home screens that you see. You have 7 of them, and you got a whole bunch of app icons, so you can launch apps by default that are already on the home screens. You can certainly swap them out if you want. This is LG's cool little multimedia widget, and it's nice. You can hop straight into videos, pictures, albums, artists, playlists. My only thing, and you see it here, it's a little laggy, and it's unfortunate because it really does kind of kill the feel of what otherwise is a very nice device. There's the Google search bar. Oh, and I was talking about the 3 buttons and why I think there are only 3 instead of 4, right? So they got rid of the search button. If you'll recall from our ice cream sandwich phone, well, the Galaxy Nexus, right? So it's got a search bar kind of like this, only much nicer, tucked in and just nestled at the top of the screen. I'm wondering if LG's might, if they're going to keep that, and that's why they got rid of the search button down here. So this phone will be updated to ice cream sandwich. LG and Verizon have already said so don't freak out about that. Here's a nice little weather widget, and this is the same one LG's been using a while. I like the clock a lot. The weather widget part of it itself is very nice, and there are actually a couple versions of this. It is powered by Yahoo, so if you care who's powering your weather, that's who's doing it. There's a Friends widget there. It's a Yahoo News widget. So a lot of cool stuff. Now this actually has, this is bugging me. This is actually bugging me a lot. So they call them themes right here. Push the button, and now you have options of scenes. So we've gone from scenes to themes, but whatever. Or themes to scenes. See, that's how much it's bothering me. So they actually have some preloaded, and we've seen this before on other devices, right? So there's one that's dedicated to travel, and all you do is tap it. And so now our home screens have changed. So these are preloaded things. There's Yahoo News, there's a calendar widget, there's a larger weather widget like I just mentioned. This is cool. I love these for when, especially when you travel out of the country and you're really having to do math, so you can have 2 time zones here and at a glance see what time it is. So that's very cool. One other real bone of contention here is the app drawer. Now this is not new, right? LG's been customizing this app drawer for a long time. it's been a while since I've used an LG device for any great length of time. But you see here, so they're all in categories, and you can collapse and expand the categories, and that's really nice. I like that a lot. But there's no way to just have a pure grid of icons like you're used to. So if that's really what you want, you're gonna have to install a third-party launcher. Not the end of the world, but it would be nice if LG, I think, included that by default. So let's open one up here. There's media. You'll see when you collapse them, everything changes, right? So now you can only manage apps or manage category. Really interesting, just contextual stuff that they've done. A lot of attention to detail, and that's good. So if you hit menu, you can actually change the layout, and then you can go to a list view, and now we get everything in alphabetical order. But that's all it is. It's a big list. You know, nice. It's fine. You know, to each his own. So you might want to consider a third-party launcher if that is a deal breaker for you. And also, if you're back in the categories, you do have other options. So if you just hold down, all it does is take it to the home screen. But if you do manage apps, it will let you press and hold to move, tap to uninstall. So we could uninstall, probably not Smart Share, but you can move it around within each category. So that's cool. One other nice little tweak that LG has included here are gestures, and some of these work better than others. So text input field. So if you check that, tap on any side of the device to move the cursor while typing. Well, yes and no. I've had trouble with that. Some of these are, you know, not new. We've seen this before. Flip the device to mute the incoming call. So if somebody calls, you don't want to talk to them, turn the device over, and it stops ringing. So not new, but it's nice that they included those and very nicely described here. So very easy to figure out. Dive into the settings one more time just to see exactly what we're dealing with here. So Android 2.3.5, build number GRJ90. Again, this will get an ice cream sandwich update, so don't worry about that just yet. Total space, so we've got a 16 gigabyte SD card in there, and then you've got 4 gigabytes of internal storage, but a good chunk of that has been taken up. More than half of that's been taken up just when you turn on the phone. Now, I'm not sure how much of that might be something that got slipped on here for our reviewing purposes. That's been known to happen. But you know, you're not going to get the full 4 gigabytes, so just keep that in mind. And that's about it. Overall, it's a nice device. I like it. It feels good in the hand. It's big. It's 4.5 inches. You know, the display. The camera's actually really good. You know, go check the examples there in the review. And you know, for 200 bucks, you could absolutely do worse. So there you go. A quick look at the LG Spectrum on Verizon. See you later.